I'm Johannes Biala. I'm the director of the Centre for Recycling of Organic Waste and Nutrients at Queensland University, and we're here based at Gatton campus. My role and activity in the Pilot to Paddock project is to look at composting or better utilization of layer manure. Initially, we were focused almost entirely on composting and improving the process, and particularly reducing ammonia emissions during the process, because that is one of the key problems of the industry. At the moment, farmers essentially only have got two options, that's stockpiling or composting. Key part of the whole equation is really to demonstrate farmers are getting more nitrogen and they are able to reduce their mineral fertilizer input. The loss of ammonia, which we estimated for one operation at $750,000, obviously it's a loss to the composting company because they should have it in the product, but it's also a loss to the end user. They also should have it in the product so they can reduce their input costs. We are doing trials at the site looking at whether we can reduce ammonia emissions just by shortening the composting period. At the moment, they compost about 22 weeks, and we want to see if their products can be used, particularly in broadacre, after 12 weeks or 15 weeks, and that also will reduce their cost because of the shorter composting period. We're doing small-scale trials in a container where we can much closer simulate different composting conditions and also different input materials. So one of the aspects we are looking at is sawdust. On paper, the carbon to nitrogen ratio is pretty good, but the carbon is just not available. Therefore, it doesn't really mean much. And you can see that in the finished product where you can still identify sawdust particles. Through the study, we also came across manure drying, which is widely used in Europe and particularly Holland. And I think that could be a solution here for the industry, for some of them, particularly for the large ones. There's at the moment, no commercial manure dryer operating in Australia, but there's also very little scientific data about how much the emissions are. Therefore, we decided to build a small-scale dryer, which we've got here. As you can see, it's a no drying oven, but it's just ideal for what we want to do. So the air is blown in, and then we're measuring ammonia in the exhaust air. So this is still the process part of it all, but we also want to look particularly at the nitrogen use efficiency. Therefore, we are looking how much is being lost during processing, trying to minimize that, but also we're looking at the nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium availability in raw, dried and composted manure. We have run pot trials, and there we can very clearly demonstrate that the nutrients in there, all the phosphorus is available, and a certain percentage of the nitrogen also is available as they applied and then becomes available over time. And this is the message we consistently say. This is a great opportunity for farmers to reduce their mineral fertilizer input just actually by accounting for the nutrients that are in these recycled organic products. Therefore, we also need to, in my view, put a dollar value on these products, because at the moment it's driven by these are the investment and operating costs, therefore we need to charge that much money, but it's not really clear if the product have the value for the farmers. Let's say we decided to go to the farmers rather than asking the farmers to come to us. Therefore, we organized the Australian Composting Roadshow, which essentially went from just outside Melbourne all the way up to Queensland to Brisbane, and we had US experts. We really tried to provide the farmers with the key information they needed to consider what they would want to do with their manure, and that was across all animal manures, not only layer manure.